thing. When you look at life from the mind, it tells you that you have to get through life, because there's something you've got to do all the time, because it's never okay from the mind's point of view. It should be, it should be, it should be. It's continuously playing you up there in the mind. And but when you look from your heart, the heart's telling you to be in it. And it's a very different experience in those moments when you're actually just where you are, because there's nothing obviously to worry about in that moment, nothing at all. And that's where you can experience life as abundant, because in the moment you see yourself in, there's always enough for you in that moment. But the mind plans for what's it going to be like in the future. And so you generate fear by having that type of thinking. That's what you do. You generate a fearful vibration, because there's something you've got to sort that out, whatever it is. And there's always something that you've got to sort out. Always. And you can't sort it all out. You absolutely can't sort it all out, because there's always more of it. So, learning, which is what meditation trains us to do, learning to come to the moment where we actually are, is so powerful, because when you realize that you can come here whenever you want to come here, there's nothing stopping you. You can always come here. And when you realize that, and you do it more and more often, you realize that everything you need is always here. And the more you realize that, you start to generate that feeling inside of yourself. And that feeling's a feeling of, oh, everything's okay. In fact, and the more you experience it as everything's okay, it becomes more okay the next time you do it. And it becomes addictive, because you start to realize, actually, everything, as long as I stay here, everything's always okay. It always works out well. And of course, the more I experience that as a feeling, the more it becomes a reality for me. And I train myself through coming back to the moment as often as I can to live where I am, because everything's sorted out here. Now, more than ever now, there's such a fearful vibration on the planet because of the current situation. And regardless of what your take is on that, it's really irrelevant. If it's causing you negative emotions of any kind, somehow related to it, then come back to the moment and get your vibration back up to love. And you do that by seeing yourself in the moment and recognizing everything's okay. Now, first, your mind's not going to agree with that. It say, no, it's not. You've got this to pay, and you've got that to do, and blah, 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 blah. But then you're back in your mind as soon as you go to that thinking, you're back there. And when you're back there, that's it. You're trying to go through life again instead of being in life. And the only place you ever are is in life, not with your thinking or your attention. You put your attention in your thoughts, and then you're not in life. You're in your thoughts about life. And then when you put your attention in the moment, you move into life. Now, the two times we are brought from the unconscious back to life is when something is excruciatingly painful, whether that's physically, mentally, or emotionally, or whether something's blissfully happy, or with tremendous amount of uncontrollable laughter. And you're brought into the moment there because you're with the very thing that's happening right now. And those times happen in our life to get us to experience the moment. They're very valuable in terms of the spiritual growth. Clearly, the best one to be experiencing is the one where you're laughing so much. Clearly, right? But we have no control over that, really. It's all going on at the unconscious level, and it's always trying to bring us back to a more abundant, loving state wherever we are in life, wherever we are, however we are, whatever our status is. The unconscious is always working to bring us back to abundance by expanding us all the time. And the quick way to do it, the fast track, is to learn to bring your attention to where you're actually going on right now in this moment. You bring your attention here, and you just experience it. You don't try and change it in any way. The only thing you try to change is that you relax. So if you've got tension in your stomach, shoulders, jaw, eyes or forehead, then you relax them. You quickly scan those areas and relax them. And if you can't relax them for whatever reason, you say to yourself, I can't relax right now, and it's okay, never mind. I'll just let it be that. And so you're giving a big vibration of yes to yourself. You're saying it's okay to be me, because this is the way I am anyway, so I may as well be this way. And every time you do that, you take all the pressure off yourself, and life's easy in that moment. And that's abundance. That's what it is. That's what it means. It means you don't need loads of anything to be abundant. You need to feel happy and relaxed, and that all of your needs are met to be abundant. It's got nothing to do with money. Money will show up or it won't. But if you're feeling abundant and that all your needs are met, and your needs are met, you know, if you're feeling that way, then it'll just be that way. But you've got to generate the feeling, which means you've got to do the work daily. That's the whole point. You've got to do this work daily. So you've got to train yourself 1,000 times a day to come back. What's actually happening in this moment right now? What's my relationship with this moment, right in this moment? What's going on? What am I feeling? What am I looking at? What am I tasting? What am I smelling? What am I hearing? What do my thoughts want to say? But you're observing. And when you really understand what the observer is, you move beyond the thought about it. There's a presence that you're conscious of that is looking at everything that's going on all at the same time. It's a place that literally observes that I'm conscious of. And when I'm in that moment and I'm observing, I'm just watching self, I can relax, because I can prove that I'm okay, because there I am, right? I'm already here. I can't deny that I'm not okay when I am okay. So it's really pointless to worry about something that's ridiculously wrong, you know, unless there's a tiger about to attack you. You know, you're always okay, otherwise you wouldn't have got to this age right now, to this very moment. You couldn't have got here if there was something wrong. Now, there may be things that could definitely be better, but there you are, hanging out, and you're all right. You are the way you are. And the more you can let that happen, the more you can work on that consciously. It's a daily practice. It's a work in progress, but it does get easier. And the rewards are wonderful, because you start to relax into the moment, and you start to understand yourself, because you get to see who you are in any given moment, you see. Because every time I come back to the moment and I relax, I'm also conscious of that experience, right? I'm conscious of the fact that I'm relaxed right now. I'm not in a thought about something somewhere else, not when I'm in the moment. When I'm in the moment, I'm literally here consciously. Obviously, I'm always here physically, but when I'm with my physical, with my conscious attention, energy is then allowed to flow, because there's a harmony between a higher vibrational me, the me that allows the chi to come through the body, and then also the physical me that's always here. Of course, it can't not be not here. So when that alignment happens, there's a conscious flow of energy. There's a conscious flow of energy, and it becomes much stronger, because when you're conscious of the moment, the energy around you expands. Everything opens for you, because you're in the flow of life. Every time you come into the moment, you're in the flow of life. And that's absolutely what abundance is, moving into the flow of life by letting it be. You don't have to think what to do, right? That's the thing you've got to let go of. That's the challenge, because you've been trained your entire life to think about life from the mental part of who you are. And that's not who you are. That's what you've been trained to think you are and to think life is. But you find out who you are and you come back into your abundance when you start looking at the moment, because you'll find who you are. You'll see what your patterns are. You'll see how fast you normally are when you actually come into the moment and check it out. See, if you're in the moment, you don't need to get anywhere else. There's nowhere else to go, because you're already there. You can't be anywhere else anyway, you know. And you realize, oh yeah, and actually everything's all right here if I just get myself here where I actually am. I mean, it's easy to understand this, but it's much more difficult to do, because we've been trained. We are deep in a brainwash. that goes on at the mental level. We're deep in a brainwash. That's what it is. We're completely brainwashed by, now it's what media says, but it's always been those that have the power to manipulate the masses. And it's a brainwash, but it's a brainwash we all chug on into, because life is eternal. You've got to remember that. You've got to realize that you cannot die. You'll physically die, of course, but the life force energy that you are inside of you is alive, and it is life force, and so by definition it can't die, because it's life force, and that's who you are. So yes, you'll leave this body, but you come here again and again and again and again. And so our work is to absolutely discover ourselves as the life force energy that's going on in the moment. And when you come into the moment, you empower that life force, and you recognize who you are, and you discover yourself as a loving force, because that's who you are. No matter what the brain has told you you are love. You know, as I said, the brainwash is so deep, but it's purposefully that way. That's what I was saying. We come back time and time again to experience separate reality, because we don't know this reality where we're from, and it's an unbelievably incredible adventure. But we take it on we take the brainwashing on wholeheartedly, instead of working on discovering who we are at the heart level. Because when we go to the heart level and we find out who we are there, life becomes abundant. Because if you're conscious of your heart, you're conscious of love. And the more conscious you are of yourself as the lovely part of you, the more you'll be the lovely part of you, and the more you'll be rewarded abundantly, because you'll be doing what you love, right? Can you see that? This is the key to abundance, and you don't need anything for it. You just need to listen to this video a few times, watch this video a few times. You don't need any money. The money will follow you. You got to work on bringing your attention to your heart chakra, to the heart part of you as often as you can, so that you get to experience yourself as love in this separate reality. Now, when we all do that, we come together as a force of love. But initially what we've got to do is we've got to do it individually to prove that it works, right? We've got to come to the moment and ask the simple question again and again and again. If I was a force of love right now, what would I do? If I was a vibration that was in harmony with love right now, what would I do? If I was an ambassador of love right now, what would I do? If I was a representative for love right now, what would I do? And most importantly, who would I help? Can I help someone right now? And go and do that, because you'll feel great when you do it. Guaranteed, you'll feel great when you do this. And of course, so then the more you do it, the greater you're going to feel. It just gets better and better. And this is the way to abundance. This is how you find your loving you, which is your great life you, which is you living your highest potential, and which is you living abundantly and happily. And that's the real truth. That's the truth. And you don't need anything to do this. You have to take these actions of finding yourself as love. If you were love, who would you be? You look for that. You find yourself as that vibration, and you work on it every single day. And your life has no other option than to absolutely, dramatically and radically change for the better, because your vibration moves toward love. It goes higher and higher towards love every single day as you do this. It's the way to take you home, and it's the way to take us home. That's how we'll take our loving human beings back together. So we bring ourselves back together, instead of following the brainwash that has us fighting each other all the time. You know, that's not who we are. That's the opportunity. We wouldn't have the opportunity to love ourselves if we didn't have the opposite playing out. So it's all a necessary dance, but it gives us the elephant in the room opportunity to learn to love each other. But we can't do that until we learn to love ourselves first. That's what we've got to do first. We've got to work on doing that, and we find the love in our heart by asking the question each day, who would I be if I was love, and who could I help right now? Have an absolutely fantastic day when you watch this. I'll talk to you next time.